Second Timothy is the last book that Paul would ever write. And chapter 4 is the last chapter of the last book that he would ever write. So let's discover what he says in this closing part of his final letter. Verse 6, "For I am already being poured out like a drink offering, and the time for my departure is near. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award me on that day. And not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing." So let's discover three things about Paul's life that enables him to so confidently assert these things. And as we do, I would encourage us, let's adopt them as our own. So the first thing I think that enabled Paul to be so confident at the end of his life was he was tethered to truth. Second, we're going to see he loved the church. And third, he was relentless for mission. All right, so first, he was tethered to truth. With all the hardship Paul endured, I don't know how he would have managed if his emotions were his anchor. He needed something much more steady. So his commitment to truth, it led him to do hard things, like confront Peter when he was out of step with the gospel. It also enabled him to be compassionate to those who had really messed up. But when they turned from their sin, he welcomed them. He knew the reality of being with Christ one day. So he could say things like to live as Christ and to die as gain. His confidence of being with Christ enabled him to love his brothers and sisters well. So he was tethered to truth. But second, he loved the church. In 2 Corinthians 11, when he's listing off all these horrific things he suffered, at the end of that, he also says, in addition to this, I have the daily pressure of being concerned for the churches. He was so patient with the bumbling Christians in these churches. He says things like, not only did we bring you the gospel of God, but we shared our very lives with you. When writing to the church at Rome, a church he had never visited, he couldn't wait to be with them. For the church in Colossae, one that he did not plant, one he did not actually know, he says, we have not stopped to wrestle in prayer for you. So of all people, he knew the church wasn't perfect, but that didn't stop him from giving his life to build the church up. He said that he strove with all of his might, but it was all of God's power in him to present his brothers and sisters mature in Christ. Third, he was relentless for mission. So even when he was suffering from unjust imprisonment and affliction, he wanted to save the jailer in Philippi who was keeping a watch on him. He insisted that the jailer, when the prison doors opened, did no harm to himself, but rather wanted him to be saved. He said that it was his ambition to preach Christ where he had never been preached. Paul accepted imprisonment so he could be on mission. And so I would encourage us, let's adopt these values from Paul's life. Let us be people who are tethered to truth, who love the church, and who are relentless for mission.